Welcome to Yoga for Cancer. I'm Rebecca, and I welcome you on this beautiful fall day here in Atlanta. And I hope the weather is good wherever you are. So for today's class, we will be using blocks, and I've just gone through this before I started recording, but blocks are great and really helpful because they extend our arms. They give us support. So if you don't have yoga blocks and it's something that you could get in the future, I would encourage you to get at least one set, maybe two. You can get them online or in Target or, supply stores for sports. But in lieu of blocks, you can use big fat paper towel rolls. Those work pretty well. Or like if you have a dense cushion. Now let me show you this. I have this is a meditation cushion, but it's not squishy. It's quite thick. And this would work well as a block substitute. So something like that along those lines. We'll also use a strap, and that can be a yoga strap. Those bands from PT, we were just talking about those. Those heavy, stretchy bands can work well. Or even just the tie from a robe would be a good substitute. And finally, we will be putting our legs up on the seat of a chair at the end of class. And you can do that on your couch if it's the right height, on a chair, a side chair like the one you see. This is a yoga chair. And if that doesn't work, if you have pillows you can put your legs up on, you could put your legs up the wall as well. So take a moment to gather your props. And I recommend, I've said this before, but when you're sitting down for yoga, if you come regularly, which I hope that you do, to have all these props in proximity, because we do use them, and you can always use them once you see how we work with them. It's great for you to use them when you need them. It's that beginning to build that awareness of your body and your needs. Okay, enough preamble. So take a comfortable seat and allow yourself to arrive, leaving behind the events of your morning and anything else that comes later today. And allow yourself to be fully present with your breath and body. Feeling what's beneath you, the support of a cushion maybe. I'm sitting on a meditation bench right now. So I'm on my knees, but the bench is underneath my bottom. And it helps me to sit up nice and tall. Noticing the sights, the sounds, the smells. What is around you in your space today? I have light streaming in, sound of someone blowing leaves somewhere outside, sometimes a dog barking. Inside, I hear the fan moving and the noises of my family as they move about their day. Allow your attention to turn a little more deeply inward now, maybe closing your eyes. Beginning to notice your breath without changing anything, without stress, just noticing, where do you feel the breath in your body? A cancer diagnosis takes your breath away. Yoga gives you back your breath. Breath is energy. The energy to live each day fully, to strengthen the body and the mind, to be fully present in your life, in your community. Studies show that yoga improves sleep and reduces persistent fatigue, greatly improving our quality of life. Our prime breathing muscle is the diaphragm. It's a dome-shaped muscle that sits up underneath your rib cage. And when you inhale, the diaphragm presses down, creating a vacuum that sucks air into your lungs. As you exhale, it releases and comes back to its resting state in that dome shape. As you inhale and the diaphragm presses down, it creates pressure in your abdominal cavity, and that's what makes it feel like you're breathing into your belly when you take a full diaphragmatic breath. So just understanding the mechanics of breathing. It's important for immunity because the diaphragm pumps the lymph through our body. The lymph system that removes waste from the cells doesn't have a pump like the heart. It relies upon our movement and things like the movement of the diaphragm in the body. The diaphragm also stimulates the vagus nerve, which is this long, complex nerve that is responsible for putting us into rest and digest, the parasympathetic nervous system. So when we breathe, it tells the body that we can relax and come down. So let's take a few breaths, maybe you can feel the movement of your diaphragm. If that's not what you feel, bring your hands to your belly. Maybe you can feel the movement of breath into your belly. Or just feel the sensation of air entering and leaving the body. Inhales and exhales. Let your inhales help you sit up a little taller in your seat, reaching the crown of your head towards the sky. The exhales help us let go, releasing what we don't need, and helping us to ground and feel gravity holding us in place. Inhaling, reaching for the sky. Exhaling and connecting to the earth. Breathing between earth and sky. Let's take 5 breaths. After your 5th exhale, release control of the breath and come back into your natural breath. Just noticing for a moment if it's different, if you notice anything different. Maybe you do and maybe you don't. Let's continue. Inhale and allow your arms to float up on the inhale. Exhale, turn palms down and softly float the arms down. Inhale up, creating space. Exhale down. When we lift our arms, it helps us lift our rib cage, and that helps us to take a full breath. And you feel that, how the inhale, the lift helps. So the movement informs the breath, and the breath helps the movement. That's yoga. Inhale and reach up, and this time we'll lower one arm and come up and over with the other. If reaching long is too much on this side, bend your elbow and bring your hand behind your head. That's interesting. You can always also bring your hand to your hip instead. As you hold here, inhale and open the side body. Can you feel your ribs expanding? Exhale here And then use an inhale to come up and over to the other side, staying for a few breaths. Let the breath help you stretch from the inside out, like blowing up a balloon. Exhale and release, and let's go side to side a few more times, moving with your breath. Stay for one or more breaths on each side, and use an inhale to move to the other side. And this, or the next time that you come through center, pause here. Inhale to sit up nice and tall, arms float up. And this time we'll twist, bringing left hand to right knee, right hand behind you. Inhale in place, getting tall, making space, and then exhale and squeeze around, coming into the twist. Inhale through center when you're ready, and exhale to the other side. Make space with the breath and twist a little deeper. Take your time moving with your breath side to side. Noticing how the breath influences the movement. Now, the inhale is elongating. The exhale is squeezing and releasing. And this, or the next time that you come through center, release arms down. If you're sitting cross-legged, go ahead and switch the cross of your legs to the awkward way. Bringing hands to your knees. You can't quite see my knees, they're here. And if you're sitting cross-legged, I should have said this earlier, and I've said it before, you want your hips to be higher than your knees so that your back can be relaxed. And if that's not the case, sit up a little higher. You can also always bring blocks underneath your knees or thighs for a little more support. We'll stay just for a few more movements here. So bringing hands to your knees. As you inhale, pull back on your knees and roll your pelvis forward. Lift your chest and reach through the crown of your head. This is cow pose, seated. As you exhale, tuck your tailbone, draw your belly in and up, pull against your knees again in the other direction, and let your head release forward. Inhale, roll the pelvis first, lifting and opening the front body. Exhale, tuck the pelvis and open between your shoulder blades. Small range of motion here. We're just rolling through the spine. But moving with the breath. The inhale opens the front body. And the exhale squeezes in, opening back body. Just a few more here. And this, or the next time that you come through center, come to sit up nice and tall. We're going to transition up to standing, and I'm going to teach you a transition using blocks. So if you have your blocks handy, great. If not, you can just reach to the floor. So I'm going to stack my knees. So my feet are in one direction. If you could see me, let me move back a little more. Make sure you could see. Okay, so knees to one direction, feet to the other, blocks on the same side as the knees. I'm going to press into my knees using the blocks for support. And then I can bring one foot forward, curl my back toes under, and come up to standing. So just offering that as a transition. I was teaching a private lesson with one of my students, and I worked on those transitions with her to help her get up and get back down again. And she really appreciated it. And I think maybe I don't offer that as much as I should. So I'm going to try and make sure that I bring them in. All right. So those blocks we talked about, or block substitutes, go ahead and grab what you have. And I'm going to show you a little bit of how we work with our blocks. So I have one set here, and I'm going to put them on their highest level and step right between them. So sometimes we have our blocks in front of us, but for this, we're going to have them literally, our feet right between the blocks, okay? We're going to elongate with an inhale, and then as we exhale, hands on your thighs, begin to sit back into your chair pose. Reaching back through the tailbone, knees are bent, spine is long. And I want you to reach down and see if you can touch your blocks. And then inhale and come all the way back up. Now for me, I could bring my fingertips to the blocks, but couldn't really get a good purchase. So I'm going to bring my first set of blocks and lower them down, and then take my second set. Now I'm a yoga teacher. I have 1, 2, 3, 4. My husband's doing yoga on the terrace right now. He's got at least one set of blocks. We have a lot. I know you don't. So I'm teaching this so that you have an idea of how we can use the blocks to support us. And then if blocks are in your future, then great. And if not, then play along for now, and then we'll move on. So I'm going to do the same test again. Hands on my thighs, inhale, get tall, and then begin to sit back into my chair pose. And here I can reach down and really get a nice purchase on my block. So this is a great height for me. And then I can inhale and come all the way up. Okay, so that's called a block test, and that gives us a sense of how much support we need for our next sequence. I'm going to grab some water first. Now, many of you who have done yoga before have heard of the sun salutation, or a salute to the sun, or what it's called in Sanskrit, Surya Namaskar. And we can do a variation of the sun salute with our blocks. So I encourage you to have something down, because we will be putting our knees down. So I use these pieces of mat that an enterprising entrepreneur has cut and sold to me. So I use that because it's a little easier to maneuver than a blanket, but a blanket or a thin pillow works perfectly. I'm going to come to stand in between my block towers. Inhale, get nice and tall. Exhale, begin to sit back into your chair pose, hands on your blocks, or if you can't reach the blocks, maybe your hands on your knees, or maybe you can reach the floor. Let's step back with the left foot and come into a lunge. Now, front knee is bent over the ankle, back heel is pressing behind you. In this position, think of rotating your left hip forward, your right hip back to balance the hips. Inhale and lengthen from your heel to the crown of your head. Exhale, we're going to slowly bend the back knee and bring the knee down. Inhale, lift up with one or both arms, opening up. Exhale, Find goddess arms, squeezing your shoulder blades together. Inhale, reach, and exhale, hands to blocks, curl back toes under. And inhale, back through your lunge. We'll exhale and step forward. Knees bent, spine long, look down towards the floor a little bit in front of you. And then inhale all the way up. And exhale, hands to heart center. Okay, so that is part one of our Surya Namaskar. I'm going to turn so that you can see this from the front. I think you all have it, but just trying to make sure. I'm just regrouping just a little bit here. And we will move to the other side. So, standing up nice and tall. Camera work today. Okay, there we go. Standing up nice and tall in between your blocks if you have them. Inhale, lift, elongate through the spine. Exhale, begin to sit back into your chair pose. My knees are back over my ankles. I can see my toes. My spine is nice and long. And I'm trying to resist the urge to do that and look at you, and instead keep my neck comfortably aligned. Let's step back now with the right foot and find that lunge. Again, begin to bring that right hip forward. The left hip draws back. Elongate on an inhale, pressing through the heel. On an exhale, begin to slowly lower the knee to your cushion. Inhale up with one or both arms. And again, bring them to where they feel good for you. Inhale here, exhale, bend your elbows, squeezing your shoulder blades together. Inhale, reach. Exhale, hands down, curl back toes under, press back, lengthen, and exhale, step forward. Inhale, come all the way up, and exhale, hands to heart center. Beautiful. We're going to go through it one more time with an option to put your knee down or not. And I will talk you through it, but it's easier if I'm sideways. Okay, find your mountain pose, standing up nice and tall, reaching up through the crown of the head. Inhale, lengthen. Maybe you'd like to raise your arms this time. Exhale, begin to sit back, hands to your blocks. Inhale, left leg comes back, find your lunge. Now, on this exhale, you can drop your knee, or you can bring hands to your other knee, and then inhale and come up with one or both arms. And again, pressing left hip forward, right hip back. Knee can be down or up. Inhale, reach. Exhale, squeeze shoulder blades together. Come into goddess arms. Inhale, reach again. Exhale, hands to blocks. Inhale, lengthen. And exhale, step up. Inhale all the way up. And exhale, hands to heart center. One more time through on the other side. And again, you have the option of lowering the knee or coming into a high lunge instead. Inhale and reach. Exhale. This takes the place of the forward fold. We're coming into a chair pose, hands coming down. Step back with the right. Inhale, lengthen. Now here you can exhale and lower your knee or exhale in place. Inhale, hands to knee, and come up with one or both arms. Pressing your right hip forward, left hip draws back. Inhale, reach, exhale, squeeze, goddess arms. Inhale, reach, and exhale, hands to blocks. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, step up. And inhale, all the way up. Exhale, hands to heart center. Phew. See, we can be strong. We can move the breath. We can move the body. And we can take the variation that works for us, that's comfortable. Okay, one more sequence I'd like to do in this block tower. So standing up nice and tall in between your blocks, inhale, lengthen. Exhale, sit back, hands to blocks. Let's see, I'm gonna step back with my right foot nope, I changed my mind, sorry, left foot. Inhale, lengthen. This time we're going to spin and drop the heel of that left foot. Right foot, knee is over the ankle. Inhale and bring your left hand to your hip. You can stay right here or walk your hand up to your knee or come all the way up to your warrior two. So right knee is bent over the ankle. Left foot is either parallel or turned in a little bit. We're opening through the hips and reaching through the arms, one or both. Turn and look at your front fingertips. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, bring one hand to either your knee or your block. Other hand comes around. Now we pivot the foot so that we're back up on the ball of that left foot. Inhale here, lengthen. Exhale, step up. Inhale up. And exhale, hands to heart center. We'll do the other side. Inhale up. Exhale forward. Inhale, reach. Exhale, drop that heel. Hand to your thigh or your knee, other hand to your hip. Stay here or inhale, coming all the way up into your warrior two. Inhale, reach long. Exhale, lower hands to blocks. Pivot onto the ball of the foot. Inhale here. Exhale, step up. Inhale up. And exhale, hands to heart center. Okay, so I don't know about you, but I have definitely worked up some energy from breath and movement. My muscles feel like they have been well engaged. Let's move on to our balance sequence. So take a moment to set yourself up if you need additional support, like a wall or a sturdy piece of furniture. You can have that handy. We're going to work with tree pose, and we're going to do the version putting a block between your feet. I'm going to grab one of my other blocks because I can, and bring this block. And so it's, foot length, the medium width, and I can squeeze in towards center. Now, of course, if you don't have a block, you can still get that sensation of squeezing in. And what does that do? When you begin that squeezing in, what do you notice? What else changes? I feel my legs coming towards each other. My pelvic floor lifts, my low abdomen lifts, chest lifts, crown of the head lifts. I can inhale and get nice and tall. And then exhale and bring hands to heart center. Take a moment to notice a drishti or focal point in front of you, something that isn't moving. so that you can rest your eyes on that space. It can be at eye level. Some people like to look down. Take a moment to find your mountain pose. Feel your feet connecting to the ground. You can rock forward and back if you like. You can shift side to side. And then find a place in the center where you feel nice and balanced, squeezing in. And take a breath or two right here. Preparing. So hands at heart center, or one hand to the heart and one to your support. Let's inhale and lift the right heel, just coming onto the ball of the foot. Try not to pop onto your left hip. Stay nice and up and over your left leg as if you're still squeezing in towards center with the block. Then you can pivot and turn out, resting your heel on the edge of the block, or step the ball of your foot up onto the block. Or of course, you can bring your foot up below or above your knee. Take a moment to find steadiness here, and then begin to draw energy from the earth. Let it rise up with breath through heart center and out, opening up your branches, the canopy of your tree, one or two arms, at a place that feels comfortable for you. If you're having trouble balancing, come in and out, bring your toes down, do what you need to do. Inhale, lift, and exhale, hands to heart center, and 2 feet on the ground. Shift a little from side to side, and then come to stillness. You can turn around if you need to, reorient to your support, or stay right where you are. Eyes on your drishti, your focal point. Feel your feet connected to the ground. Squeeze in, lifting, getting taller, strengthening. Then lift your left heel. Turn out, rest the heel, or bring the foot onto the block or onto the inside of your leg. Keep squeezing in toward center on that standing leg. Feel the strength, the energy, draw breath up through heart center and out, opening, offering, creating the majesty of your tree. Big breath in. Exhale, hands through heart center, bring 2 feet down, and then release. You can move your block and shake out. Beautiful. Okay, we're going to transition back down to the floor. You can use what we've done with our block tower. Inhale, reach. Exhale, forward. Step back with one leg and lower your knee. And then bring the other knee to join the first. I'm going to walk my blocks here and begin to sit down. I think I got it this the wrong way. Yeah, feet away. And slowly walk my feet around and come in to a seated position. Let's bring soles of feet together, knees apart. Let's rock a little bit from side to side. And then come to center, holding on to your knees, shins, ankles, or feet. See if you can roll up onto your sits bones. If you're sitting way back, then you need to sit up on the edge of a blanket, or sometimes I just fold up this piece of mat and I can sit on the edge, so I can sit up nice and tall. You can also bring blocks underneath your knees if that's supportive for you. Holding on here, we'll inhale and lengthen. Exhale, let go in your hips and soften. Inhale, get tall. And exhale, release a little more. One more breath. And walk your feet out in front of you. Hands can be behind for support. Just little bounces. And maybe some windshield wiper, shifting your feet, your legs in and out or side to side. And we'll prepare now to come down, and we'll, in a moment, and we have one more sequence lying down, and then we'll move into a restorative pose where we'll use our legs up on the chair seat or whatever you have set up for that, pillows, the edge of your couch, whatever you have available. So think about that as you're moving to the ground so that there's not a whole lot of shifting that has to happen when you come back up. Now, to get down, I like to use what one of my teachers calls couch pose, and begin to slide out onto your side like you're lying on the couch. Allow yourself to come all the way down, and then very gently and gracefully off, roll to your back. Now, lying on your back with knees bent, feet and knees about hip distance apart, and feet close to your bottom. Have nothing underneath your head for this sequence. Arms down at your sides. Take a moment first to just feel all your points of connection with the earth. Notice if you're gripping anywhere and maybe soften. And then inhale fully, excuse me, exhale and press your low back into the mat. As you inhale, release that press, create that curve again, and then exhale and flatten the curve of the lumbar spine. We'll do this just a few more times, rocking a pelvic tilt. Moving with your breath. The next time that you're inhaling, press into your feet, have your arms down at your sides, press down, and lift your hips an inch or more off of the mat. On an exhale, lower hips back down. Inhale, press and lift, maybe a little bit higher. Exhale, slowly down. Inhale, press and lift, and maybe you'd like to stay for a breath, exhaling in place. Inhale, press up a little higher, and exhale, slowly lower down. Continue working with any part of this sequence, from the pelvic tilt to the small bridge to the bigger bridge or the held bridge, for about 5 or 6 breaths, taking your time. Lifting and lowering, pressing. And when you feel complete with your bridge sequence, come to stillness. Begin to walk your feet out toward the outer edges of your mat, so walking them out wide. You can keep your arms down at your sides or bring them out at shoulder height, either straight out with palms down or come into goddess. Whatever feels best in your shoulders, in your arms and chest. Begin to slowly move your knees from side to side, twisting gently. You can inhale to center and exhale to one side. Stay with this gentle twist, or if you'd like a deeper twist, walk your feet in a little closer and cross your left over your right. Lift your hips up and jog them over to the left, and then let your knees drop to the right. If this is too much, then come back out and go back to the other version. If this feels good in your body, you can stay for a few breaths, maybe turning your head in the opposite direction or keeping it centered. You can also turn your head towards your knees, and that changes the stretch. We'll take just a few breaths here, releasing a little more on each exhale. If you're working with knees wide, dropping side to side, you can also drop your knees to one side and pause. And then when you're ready, we'll all come up through center, recenter your hips if you're using the eagle leg version, and switch sides. Lift up and just jog the hips over to one side, and then let the knees fall in the opposite direction. Try to keep both your shoulders down on the mat. Breathing into the stretch, into this squeeze and release. Two more breaths wherever you are. And on your next inhale, knees back to center. Center your hips, walk your feet back in, and then slowly draw one and then the other knee in. Hugging your knees. Some of us can wrap forearms around your knees or hold on to one shin in each hand and rock a little bit from side to side. Come to center and squeeze. And then slowly lower one foot and then the other. Roll to one side and press into your hands to come on up. We're going to set up for our restorative pose, which is a version of constructive rest pose. I'm going to work with a chair seat, but you can work with your legs up on a cushion, on the edge of your couch, or even legs up the wall. Now, strap. If you'd like, and you have a strap available, if it's just a tie, you can wrap it and tie it in just a minute. If you have a traditional strap, go ahead and make a loop. And then we're going to bring our legs through that loop. Make sure it's wide enough so that you can move, and put the buckle in the front and not on top of your flesh. Okay, Here we go. I'm going to roll back into my couch pose, and this time bring my legs up onto my chair in this case. And I can move it around. See, in the old days, when we were in person, I could come around and adjust your chairs and make sure that you get set up. But you're on your own, unfortunately. Okay, so whatever kind of strap you're using, go ahead and tighten it, either by tying it or cinching it if you have a traditional strap, so that your legs are a hip distance apart. And what this does is it keeps us from holding our legs in and trying to keep them from flopping open, so that you can fully relax in your hip flexors, in your adductors and your abductors. So get yourself set up if you're using your strap, legs comfortably resting on something, maybe. Make sure that your pelvis is securely on the ground, right? You don't want to be hanging from your chair. You want to make sure your pelvis is down. Arms down at your sides. And see if you can let go right in the crease of your hips. With each inhale, feel the expansion of your belly. With each exhale, feel your belly drop, pressing you down into the ground beneath you, letting go through your thighs, inner thighs, outer thighs, and right in the crease where your hip flexors are. With each exhale, see if you can let go a little bit more, letting the big bones of your legs drop down into the hip sockets. Now, if any of this is uncomfortable for you because of your anatomy, your history, then please take care of yourself and make adjustments. Come on down. Let your legs rest on a bolster or some pillows. Find a position of ease. You can even have your feet down on the mat, walk them out wide, and then drop your knees in towards each other. That's another version of this pose. And with each exhale, let go a little more. Feeling all of those points of connection with the ground, the back of your head, shoulders dropping down, hips heavy, backs of your legs. Let your arms be heavy, hands, palms down, or bend your elbows and rest your palms on your belly or your torso. And with each exhale, see if you can let go a little bit more. We'll stay for a few breaths. Rest in this restorative pose for as long as it's truly comfortable. And then if you prefer, slowly roll out and make your way into Shavasana, resting pose. So you have the option of staying or coming into a more traditional position for your Shavasana. Wherever you are, release, relax, and just let go. Rest. Part of mindfulness is developing our curiosity, putting aside our thoughts of the past and worries for the future, our preconceived notions, to welcome each experience, each breath anew. The breath is a miraculous opportunity to come back again and again to the grounding presence of now, greeting each new breath as a new moment, a new sensation, with wonder and awe. Begin to deepen your breath, bringing small movements into fingers and toes. If you're still in constructive, in constructive rest pose, then please carefully release your legs and roll to one side. If you're in Shavasana, also roll to one side and pause for a moment. And then very slowly press into your hands to make your way up to sitting. Allowing your attention to stay deeply inward for another moment or two. We'll seal our practice with one chant of Om for the community that we create when we practice together. If you'd like to join, bringing hands to heart center, we'll inhale together. Om Shanti, peace, peace, peace. Jai Bhagwan. May the light in you be victorious. Thank you so much for sharing your practice with me and with each other.